and they're off. So this is the very start of a hexbug endurance battle, and I see already we have some guys falling off. Sean, there was a minute, actually it was flipped spectacularly there. Our first flip, and Mary's also been flipped. We have, yeah, this is all going well so far. Luckily, everyone is doing good. Now you see the metallic blue there, actually, oops, that was a spectacular push-off. Darlene, however, is, yeah, metallic blue now, so just, you know, metallic blue and black, actually. So, just don't confuse them with Tim here is coming on. There he is. Right, Tim now is coming on. A lot of chaos now. Coming on. Yeah, we're just getting to, sorry, hang on, there's just a hair there, let me get it off. So now we're just getting to the stage where this could last a while. We're all coming on and taking the chance they can to get back off. Yeah, Mickey Thompson has a slight problem with his battery. I think he's going to have to be removed from the battle. So, yeah.
We have two hexbugs on standby who are at 3. And here they are. You notice the line is cover schemes. I'm sure that we will be able to play later on.
So yeah, there is quite a lot that really don't want to get up. You have to give them a bit of encouragement. So meanwhile, looks like on the battlefield itself, there is quite a lot of, there's a fair amount of action going on as Benny comes on, actually, and she's pushed off, and Roxy is, actually, she looks like she's been bruised badly. Actually, look, wow, that's bad. You can see that there. Yeah, she has a bad bruise on her side. Meanwhile, I shall just take some of these guys and come back up here. You see, there's been a bit of a pile-up down here. What I might have to do here is, yeah, I'm going to have to put them up here, because there is, yeah, this is actually pretty bad. Actually, Mary here is running ridiculously low on energy. She is also pulled from this battle. Meanwhile, also, I'm just trying to get these guys back up and in the mix. While I'm doing this, I should explain more about the battle. So, Streaker is on the edge there, and both her and Yellow Hex go off. It's actually very spectacular. A lot of them seem to get pushed off on this side more than this side. I have no idea why. And by the way, Pam thought he looked too much like Henry, so he is now completely black. He's now first completely black V2. So, yeah, they're very fond of getting tattoos and things like that. So you'll notice that they didn't come like that.
So we have several custom hexbugs now. You'll notice on the standard colour schemes amongst the UK. Some are made for stealth, others are made meanwhile, the chaos continues. Energetic hexbugs, so keen once they get onto the battlefield that they immediately bump into one of the others and whoop, off they go. So they've got plenty of energy, so they can get back up again and get straight back into the fight. Of these guys are a little bit more reluctant to come up onto the ground. Probably there. V2 is obviously a little bit of advantage if they're on their back, because they can easily walk on their back as well. And they tend to drop over onto the main
actually we have a bit of an accident here on one of the ramps. This always happens if a hexbug is on its side and the others come up and slam into the back of it. So this is the problem here when you get too many trying to come up like this. Actually, I shall just be explaining a couple of names here. This here, because I permanently forgot her name, so I renamed her Jenna. And I permanently forgot his name too, so I renamed him Ryan. Which is actually, if you think about it, is actually a pretty good battle name. Yeah, like, Ryan. You can't really say that with a lot of other ones, can you? Meanwhile here, Joey, who is kind of like the mottled dark grey, next to Ray there, who is the glow-in-the-dark Nano V2. well, he got pushed off, and Ray actually is trying to push Cooper off on his side there, which is a brave move because it's actually very hard to do that. But he looks like he pushed him off, even though Cooper is really, really good. Oh, and I think no, Ray actually is still on there. Yellow Hex, however, is actually got pushed off along with Bugsy too. And Michaela there is cool, calm and collected. Meanwhile, there's a slight scrap in the on-ramp because Hexy gets flipped upside down, and Ryan there gets pushed. Oh my gosh, he's actually I'm using a book to hold up the camera, but look at that, he's just staying there. Wow, that's great. That really is brave. Oh, he goes up. That was a really spectacular thing that's happened today.
Meanwhile, there's a couple of casualties down here. We'll get them back into the trail. They were outside the habitat.
It happens a lot when there's too many 1XL, and they'll try to go the wrong way through a one-way door. So it's not exactly foolproof, but it's a little better than the spiral ramps, because it's ridiculously difficult to get your fingers in there to take them out. Meanwhile, with these straight ramps, it's a lot easier.
Jam once again over here as they all try to get through the door.
That's a streaker fell out, wow.
Give you a little bit of a different perspective of the whole battle zone here. Here's the bridge and the capture area. This area is reserved for those poor hexbugs that are casualties already of the battle.
In fact, it's also the podium too.
Meanwhile, as you can see along the connecting ramps, there's always a little bit of a fight going on for space. Oh, that's gotta hurt. Slap, 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 slap. Ow, 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 ow. Thanks very much, he says. Thanks for the help in your finger. Now.
Meanwhile, again, actually another spectacular crash down here. Man, you get an awful lot of these. It is, nasty. Oh, the Ray turned upside down there. Meanwhile, these guys, you can't have two abreast in these narrow crossover ramps. Meanwhile, actually, the action on the battle bridge itself is pretty calm, to be honest. Harry is actually running very, very low on energy. Look at that there.
Yeah, there you go again, fighting along that ramp.
Harry there, energy is just letting him down. There's no other way to put it.
But oh, look at this now. This is exactly what we're talking about. Such a pile up, they've all fallen on their side, and they just keep going and going and going. Then, boom, boom. Pile them all in there. There they go.
Actually, this
They're keen to be part of the action.
There's a big crash down there. Actually, it's getting worse. In fact, the safety hex, when they could trip down there to see if he can break it up a bit. Actually, it looks like it's going to reach the end. There we go. Yeah, he's pushing it through. Good old safety hex, I'm pushing it through without any problems.
Gonna check out this lane. We're gonna sort out these guys over here. Straight in there, so come on, boys. Get yourselves organised.
He's stuck in there too. Actually, while it's there, there's another renamed hexbug is trying to help out. Yep, there we go, I'll just help out a little bit there. Actually, there he goes again. Oh, Cash is actually pushing on him. He's a little slow, so he's trying to make him go faster. So, yeah. Meanwhile, on the battle bridge, Yellow Hex actually made a fairly good save, but I think quite nice to hold the streamer is kind of being squashed in, and she is actually really, really good at battling. So,
and another pile up over here.
Yeah, and a big one here, yeah, that's
all the greens together here, they're setting up a team battle going on with these guys, getting themselves organized. As soon as they get onto the hex plate, boom, run around like that.
Well, actually, there's only 3 hexbugs on the battle bridge. Everyone was trying to take a rest. These guys are all taking a rest. Actually, Streak has come on, so she'll make short work of these guys. Let me tell you that much. Yeah, I think. Oh, and off goes Henry. He's gonna make short work of these guys. I can tell you that much. And here comes Link and Ray. Let's see, Sam also and Wolfie gets pushed off with spectacular fall there. Also Corey is on there too, and Link is flipped. And here comes Jenna as well. She's running low on energy, believe it or not. She is pretty down here. Meanwhile, a big crash here. Safety Hexbug's gonna have to come out and help push this through.
Come on, give him a shove. Through you go, guys.
He's trying his very best, and looks like it's...
A little bit of human helping hand is required, I think, here. These guys just can't pull him out.
Oh yeah, Alexander was stuck so firmly that I actually took a bit of effort to get him out. They weren't actually supposed to go through that, maybe they did anyway. Hexbugs, I hate to say this, they don't like to follow rules. Meanwhile, where's the safety hit? Ah, there he is, helping up Pinky. Let's see. That's actually, and Link and Shelly both get pushed off. Actually, they fell off. There's the scrap going the other round. There's some guys getting stuck in this Excel. And Quiver there, who is making more appearances than you think. Oh, actually that was spectacular. Wow, she gets flipped upside down. That was very spectacular, actually. Let's see. Meanwhile, after the safety hex comes on, he's actually trying to have a bit of a go, because he used to battle before he retired and became a safety hex bug. So, you're probably known better as being Stigma, as I've been many hexbugs before. Meanwhile, here on the battle bridge, there is some action coming on, and John comes on too. And he pushes James off. And meanwhile, you see Quiver is stuck in the door and gets pushed off. She actually, yeah, the black team is giving her another chance because you know, Jesus is really rubbish. Actually, my dad's putting lights on, even though we can see clearly. Meanwhile, Alexander is on his side. Actually, some hexbugs deliberately flip themselves over because they're less likely to get pushed off if they're on the side. Meanwhile, Ryan actually is doing a good job of staying on, and actually made a quick whip around and pushes Joey, off. And on comes Shelly. Hasn't quite come on yet, but she pushes Ryan off. Looks like she's going to get pushed off herself. There we go. And on come our lights. Actually, I shall turn the other one on too. You know, traditional endurance hexbug battle. You know, part of it's in the light and part of it's in the dark. Actually, this video, just so you know, has been done right before the Daytona 24 hours. That's in fact why I'm doing it. I shall actually do another one before the Le Mans 24 hours as well. Actually, it looks like Cam there has got a load of dust on him. There we go. Come on now. Actually, a load of hexbugs start coming on, including Cassie and Bugsy, and of course, what do we get now? A scrap on the on-ramp, and a big one too. Look at this. Folks, hexbug's being pushed up massively, and the safety hexbug will make an appearance. There he goes, he's pushing it through, doing all he can. And on he comes. He'll stay on until he lets himself get pushed off. That means that everything's okay. So, actually, you know, you can actually see that when he was a battler, he was good. Because he was staying on there really well. So, meanwhile, oopsies. Sorry. The streaker comes on, and she looks like she's going to push Jenna off. Jenna's actually pretty good. Streaker's struggling, and Jenna headbutts her, and tries to push her. Oh, she's flipped when Jenna tries to push her off, and Jenna gets pushed off by Streaker, who's on her side. And with the help of Sean, who actually likes Streaker quite a bit, so came to her rescue. So, yeah. There's a lot on the action right now. There's only 5 of the birds on the pit box, make that 4. And immediately as one drops off, 2 or 3 more come on, and then down to 3. There's a massive group waiting in the wings ready to come on, and it's like they've been waiting all this time, and here they come. Man, there's a big crash here on the on-ramp. Alexander is hanging on for dear life. Feels like he's going to fall out of the on-ramp. Oh man, he's being pushed against that wall. Oh man, terrible crash. Terrible crash. Safety hexbug making an appearance here. Actually, Charlotte actually T-bones him. And he comes on, just making sure everyone's okay. And he lets himself get pushed off. So, there we are. It's getting busy, isn't it? It actually is. Wow. Yeah, it's getting a bit... People are crowding around this side of it. Actually, Charlotte is actually hanging on really nicely, actually. Wow, she's doing an awfully good job of hanging on. Sometimes these guys will need some help, so I'm giving it to them. Actually, meanwhile, Ken comes on. There, when he gets flipped. That was, yeah. Actually, actually pretty bad. That looks like it hurt. Some of the minor crashes can actually hurt a lot. Meanwhile, Darlene there, actually, is hanging on. Oh, off she goes. That was too bad. Meanwhile, as you can see, there is, yeah, you can see some of our lights in the background there. There's a lot of action here as these guys are trying to come on. Actually, a lot of them, they're actually a bit afraid of coming on, because some of these guys, you know, some of these really guys, they're really mean, actually. They're just downright mean towards rookies. So, actually, Xeroxy there, yeah, I'm not sure how Xeroxy got that bruise, but that was just, yeah, that was really painful. Actually, Link is struggling to get off on his side. Actually, and he manages to get up. And actually a bit of a crash down here. I am just using the single AF or autofocus mode on the camera because, as you might remember my previous hexbug battle, the focus didn't work at all. It kept going out of focus and stuff. So, yeah.
Meanwhile, lockdown has occurred on the on-ramp to the battle route. And Sean's guys are getting there as well. He's doing his best, but that's not quite what he needs to push it through. These guys are now queuing up to get onto the route. Some of the time they were trying to do that. And finally, Sean gets them through. They all manage to get onto the route. Some guys need a little bit of extra hand here. During this game. They can come back into the play and have a little bit of rest now and then.
Now, meanwhile, there is the battlefield itself here, and Benny gets pushed off, and so does Flaky. Tom actually is pushed off cleanly there by Shelly, who actually, speaking of Shelly, she will be with us for this entire year of hexbug battles, and then she, in fact, oh man, Street, on their, that looks painful. Wow, yeah, she's, in fact, yeah, getting some bad bruises there. I don't know who's doing it, but I'm sure the referee is gonna have to, sorry how it just cut out there. The camera only lets you, record for, 29 minutes at a time. So, if only it'd let you record a little more. I'm sorry it just cut out like that. So, I'm sorry, I don't know where I got up to when it cut out. But meanwhile, there's some good action going on here, and actually, a massive wave of hexbugs is coming back on. There is a big scrap on the on-ramp here. There's a Cooper and John and Shelley and Corey working on in quick succession, and Streaker and Wallace and Kathy and Joey and Benny and Cam and Bugsy and Sheila and Streamer And glowy too. And even Sam, who is feeling a bit less confident today. Meanwhile, actually, the ref is looking out for Xeroxy because she wants to find out who is giving her all those bruises. The ref, you guessed it, is Zuki. Sorry about this here. Just getting some hexbugs out from the hexer, which is underneath this camera. Let you see. So meanwhile, it's fairly calm here on the battle bridge itself. Not only, obviously, being an endurance battle, this is not only a test of skill, but this is also a test of how much battery power you have, as well, how much battery energy, because who knows, you could just go out at any minute. And Sean, actually, is getting some of his paint rubbed off a little bit from all that time on his back. And he looks like he's going to get pushed off. No, actually, he saved himself there. He almost got flipped, but he managed to stay up. Meanwhile, Harry is struggling with his battery, which has been bugging him for hours now. Well, in hexbug hours anyway, because this has already been about 7.5 hexbug hours. So, yeah. And Roxy, she comes on, despite all her bruises, she's very tough. She's one of our most experienced, and she's been battling for a long time. And here comes Webbish as well, but is blocked by Cooper, who, I hate to say this, sometimes fights dirty, even though he's really good. Here he comes again, though. It's probably one of the reasons why actually Xeroxy doesn't like him.
The other bug now, I think a bit of a break. Running around the outside and stay down and break for a few minutes to get a bit of a breather. Since everybody's aware that it's a long battle. But it's not really in their nature to stay out of battle for too long. So every now and then, this huge stream of them coming.
Oh man, that was a big crash, actually, on the on-ramp. And the safety hexbug is making an appearance to try and break up this scrap. Here he comes. Actually, he gets on. That means that everything's okay. It's actually very weird how most of these hexbugs get pushed out of this side of the battle grid instead of this side. That's why I keep having to keep lifting this camera up and taking them out of here and putting them back in here. Actually, there's some big accidents here. And Glowy there, that actually happened to him, to actually his dad in '68. A very similar incident like that. He got trapped between a door and the other hexbug and got flipped upside down and just stayed that way. So he looks like he's going to get pushed upside down by Sean, who's on his side. Actually, Sean is incredibly brave. But though he got off, he's coming back on, and oh man, we have a big crash here. We have a big crash. Terrible crash here on the crossover ramp. I think this is one of the biggest I've ever seen, except for the one in Epic Hexbug Battle 8. That was the biggest one of all time. That has got to be one of the worst I've seen for a long time. There. And there's another accident there. I think someone might have fallen out, actually, of the crossover ramp. We'll just make sure that no one is hurt. Meanwhile, I'm trying to... okay, there he is. I just lost the safety hexbug for a minute there. Meanwhile, actually, Webish is trying to get in the door, but Jake is blocking it. And Pinky comes on. She is actually really good, though a bit soft. What do you think about it? But there she is, trying to push Streamer off. Will she succeed? Yes, she did, with Joey's help. But Tim pushed her off, and Tim gets pushed off himself, and Alex gets pushed off, and Jenna gets pushed off. And Darlene probably as well, but she goes around the outside to avoid getting pushed off. And we have another massive scrap here on top of the ramp. And Sean, they're desperately trying to get up. Tom comes on. Here. And so does Streaker as well, and Tom gets pushed off. Actually, that was a very spectacular move. It actually hurt him quite a bit. And on comes, Sam as well. Sorry, my voice is weird today. Well, it always is. And we also have Jake on there too. So well in this battle.
So every now and then, get tired, they find themselves on their side, and you get this massive guys who are just not able to get themselves back up right now. If you look at the cells underneath the battlefield there, you will see them all struggling to get themselves back on their feet.
Oh, and a big, actually, for Alexander. Yeah, that looks like it hurt a lot.
So you have to give these guys a little bit of help and then
Okay, big scrap on the arm right there. A close-up shot, actually, of the battle bridge. This, actually, if I look through the door here, you can see what it's actually like for an hexbug. And this is what it's actually like. Probably a bit smaller than this, but this is about the view that a hexbug nano would get. Maybe one day they'll make a camera small enough to actually put onto a hexbug nano, and you can do an on-board shot, which would look really cool. And here we go again. Here is a big scrap. And actually Hexy is so slow, I will just help Hexy there. He's actually pretty weak now because he's so old. His rubber has gone rock hard, and it's just very hard for him to compensate. Oh man, 2 hexbugs pushed up at once. And Jen is flipped upside down violently. Like Cory and Glowy, they were mean to her. That wasn't nice of them at all. Big scrap there. So yeah. So here we go again now, and there is not too many guys on here, which actually doesn't surprise me too much. It's that particular point. Actually, Darlene is being a bit silly, and actually, I think she fell off because she was too near the edge. I couldn't exactly see what happened. I was too busy looking at something else. Actually, there's a big scrap there, and Streaker's trying to get through the door, but not succeeding. It doesn't surprise me at all. Meanwhile, actually, Hexy decides that he is going to come on. So we'll see how he does, actually. I think he's really good. So there he is, you can see him. And he's trying to push Harry off. Yep, that was a good move from him. He succeeded well and truly, and Sheila goes off too, and Yellow Hex gets flipped violently. Meanwhile, Tim, yeah, I think that's Tim. Oh, and he fell off too, just after he pushed whoever that was off. And Jake comes on, and you can see him on the edge. And that's actually Michaela. I think he's gonna fall off. And Sam there is on his side. Meanwhile, Hexy comes back through the door again. I think, no, actually, I think he just got stuck in the door. So, and on actually comes Wendy with some force, pushing on James. Meanwhile, John is keeping as cool as a cucumber, actually on the edge there. Meanwhile, nobody is coming back on. No one actually is coming back on, but here comes Alex, actually. He's trying to come in that door. Wendy actually is blocking him. That is actually an illegal move. The referee will give her a yellow card, actually. So she will be given a re-entry penalty. There we are. But she is doing it again, actually, but she's flipped upside down. If you can't help it, that is one thing. The referees will forgive that, but... And there is a big crash on one of the crossover ramps. That is one giant crash. And look at Kathy there. She's right squashed in there. And everyone's... And, oh man, that's gotta hurt bad. She's stuck in that door. And being pushed through. Yeah, I don't think she's... Yeah, that looks pretty bad. Cassie there, being squashed, that's also suffering a broken leg. And so she will shortly be taken to the hospital. We have our first injury, actually, of the hexbug battles. There actually hasn't been an injury for a while. And if you look at apart from the leg, I'm not exactly sure which leg it is, but you see, look at all those bruises as well. She's gonna have to get those looked at. Meanwhile, while this is going on, there's another big crash down here. As the reason a lot of these scraps happen is because somebody is going in on this, going down on their side, and someone else catches up to them and gets stuck. Meanwhile, and Cam, oh, what a big crash there, he falls out of, yeah, he's hit quite hard. He's going to take a little bit of a break, actually. That, I don't blame him, that was a very hard hit. And Gray there is getting some massive battle bruises. I mean, just look at that. Someone is being mean to him as well. He's fairly new as well, he hasn't been in an awful lot. Cam there just taking a rest, he's very tired anyway, he will come in a bit. Also here, I shall do a shot actually, just for a little more entertainment, of this pixel down here. You can actually kind of see the battle bridge up there a bit. That's actually a good shot. All these guys shall be sent up the ramps here. Meanwhile, actually on the battle bridge, you can see Pinktail is pushed off spectacularly. You can see all the push-offs really well. Like that, Wallace was pushed off. And also, and you might be able to see Harry spectacularly and out of the Hexel. Yep, over and out of the Hexel goes Harry. There's actually a cool optical illusion. You can see it looks like there's more hexbugs than there actually is from where the camera is in these hexels down here. They are a bit stuck. Oh, 2 hexbugs pushed off one after another. I should just give them a bit of help because they're all lazy and going on their sides. But now I have to snooze.
One of the big questions is, which ones are more successful? The original Nano or the V2? What do you think?
Well, it depends. It depends the skill of the Nano, the original Nano of the V2 itself, actually. There's been different levels of successfulness for nanos. Streaker being the very top and Quiver being the very bottom. So yes, it definitely depends on the nano itself. Actually, what I should try to do here is actually use the podium to try and get a good view of the Vassal Bridge. I shall just find something to use here.
There we go, I shall zoom in on the hexbug battle. Here we go, I'll just zoom out again so you can see part of the top of the ramp, so it's not focusing. A little more. There we go. It's focusing. Okay.
So, meanwhile here, we have actually quite some chaos going on. I shall be a few guys falling out of the hexagon, which is pretty unfortunate. Because if there's one I don't see, then you have to wait for me actually to notice it. And that's actually really bad for them.
No, there's a better view. There.
There, in fact, I think that's about the perfect view, even though it's not quite in focus. More guys with battle bruises coming on. Now in spectacular fashion. Joe pushed off spectacularly. All these guys streaming on.
And streaming on. There's an absolute river of hexbug nanos coming on this battle bridge.
There is still some light, even though we have our lights on. It's not obviously not dark yet. So, meanwhile here,
these guys have taken a break. Good in poor Ryan, who just didn't quite make it.
maybe someday I'll get a tripod for this camera, because I don't have one, and I just have to improvise and use books and stuff to hold this up. And here comes poor Ray again, who has all those bruises. Meanwhile, Streamer pushes Ray off to add to his bruises. And of course, Streaker's come on her side. Meanwhile, there is some big accidents. The crossover ramps and the hexel ramps, which are the ones that used to come up to the hexel. And Tom, for a little bit there, was the only one on. And in fact, here, Ray, on comes Ray. And also, on comes Link and pushes 2 hexbugs off. So very spectacular move. He is very excitable when it comes to that, but he gets pushed off by Webbish, who is another legend of the Battle Bridge, along with Streaker and Streamer, and a few others who are no longer battling, like Aaron, who has long since retired from battling and racing. And also Susie as well. There's another long retired hexbug, and Penny too. The list goes on and on. But only 2 guys on, Cooper and Webbish. In fact, the only 2 on there, but not for long though. Here comes Shelly, who flips Benny upside down. Benny still has some scars from a racing crash. He had a long time ago. Actually, it was back in the 80s, in hexbug years. So, yeah.
Well, some of these guys have been horrid. I'm just helping them out here, trying to get them back in. Outside Marcus Zone, just descend. You can tell that some of these guys are getting very tired.
Say Carrie, for instance. He's got such a lack of energy, he can hardly propel himself.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be a few more casualties before the end of this race. It's a bit of a speciality, the enduro. The ones that are successful, the ones that kind of keep themselves out of the way and then pick their moments. You know, making lanes for themselves and all that.
Jake also is getting tired. Streaker, who's the most experienced of the lot though, obviously is going. He'll keep going. She has a lot of endurance, actually gets straight back off. Here she comes again though. Actually, it was a complete accident when she got off. That's not something she'd usually do. I think she's attempting to push Benny off there, by the looks of it. She's trying, and here comes Darlene too. Yep, she is calm and collected, and off she goes. Also, in a minute here, the camera will cut out, and you will just miss a little bit of the action, but we will be back. And here we are back again to our endurance hexbug battle. So there was quite a bit of action missed, but it's alright. So Streaker here is pushed off. I mean, actually no, not pushed off. Actually, she's trying to hold off James, and Harry is another casualty. He's dead. His battery is dead. Jake will soon also be another casualty as well.
It's a grueling test for some of these young hexbugs.
And Sheila.
Over exuberance at the start and then they die there.
Sheila is another casualty. Meanwhile, Ham, actually, after his side has had a little time to stop hurting, and on he comes again. Not to a very good start though, because the on-ramp is blocked. Luckily though, he manages to push Jake off, and Joey also is another casualty. Meanwhile, almost everyone's on their side there, and Sheila's almost pushed off, but she saves herself. Very good, but she's flipped, so it's actually one of the most frustrating things that can ever happen to you if you are a hexbug, to get flipped on the battle bridge by someone else, because then it's very hard to push, and then it's hard to do two things. One is to get up, it's very hard to do that, and two, it's very hard to, push someone off. But there is an upside to it, and that is that you're less vulnerable to being pushed off yourself, and it's almost impossible to fall off when you are on your side. Also, Benny actually forces Jenna to the limit and off he goes, but he falls off himself, even though he is very good. But any hexbug will fall off or get pushed off if they are pushed to the limit by more than one hexbug. Even Streaker. It has happened to her many times.
There's the clock ticking away. We're about 2 turns through this hexbug epic battle. Clock's in ticking. That's clear to see that some of these poor hexbugs are getting very fatigued now. The hexbug day, of course, is only about an hour and 20 minutes in human day.
But in hexbug hours, that is 24 hours long.
At this point, they've been going now, for over an hour. And for them, that's almost 20 hours into their day. So as fatigue starts setting in, we're going to see some more mistakes from these guys. There's just going to be more pilots. There's going to be more resting on the side. But you'll see that this is when the guys that are really energetic and good will start to take advantage.
For example, Streaker. She has still got probably 95% of her energy still left. Which, if you think about it, is really amazing. She's been going 24 hours and hasn't lost, any energy at all.
Pilot trying to get on the battle bridge now. See, some of these bugs are keen, aware of the time. They know their time's running out. We have another casualty, and then they're going to stay with him. Poor guy. He's just got bruises and muck and cuts all over him from this 24-hour race. He'll live to fight another day. Meanwhile, poor old Joe, another casualty, he's gone.
And,
there's a marked difference we see between these four guys. Some of them have still got tons of energy left and are super keen to get back into battle, even though they get pushed straight off again. They're all congregating down here with these guys at the end. Another poor casualty, poor old Jake here. Here's another to go. Now we've lost 9 bugs on our original set, the fourth one.
To be perfect, exactly, in the beginning we had 47 battlers, and now we are down to 38.
As we look over the scene here, we can see that there's definitely a few flaggers. There's going to be a few more casualties yet before the end of the battle. So they're all doing their best. They're all putting a lot of effort into this. Keep trying to get themselves back up onto the bridge. Sometimes they need a little hand. Oh no. I see another casualty of the fray.
And it is Glowy Jr.
Also battered and bruised. Poor old Glowy Jr.
And even though he's not entirely dead, Tim is very tired, and he decided to drop out of this hexbug battle. Meanwhile, however, Xerox's battle goes from bad to worse, as she is kind of losing the strength to push anybody off, and some of the more energetic ones are now getting the better of her. She didn't start out this hexbug battle very good anyway. Meanwhile, Cooper, who we haven't actually seen for a while, T-bones Xeroxy, and Hexy, who probably wins maybe second prize for endurance, comes on.
Speaking of energy, this little guy, bam! Straight back into the fray. So much energy. Pulls off, going and going and going. Should rename it Energizer. Here's another. Straight back into the fray.
Probably Shelly is one of the best. I'm not exactly sure where she is. She might be under here. There she is. But look, she is still very fast. Sorry, the camera strap was just getting caught on something. Some of the V2s, like Ray, actually. I thought he was dead. That was really weird.
Come back to life.
Yeah, I thought his battery was dead. That was weird.
Oh, I see,
Streaker is another endurance pro. There hasn't been very many endurance battles. It's been a new thing. I think the first endurance hexbug battle was in 89, I think, in hexbug years. And next to go, as far as battery life, is 10. Poor thing. He really tried hard, and he actually really wanted to try to get at least, make it at least to sudden death, which is actually coming up in not too long. Probably only a couple of minutes. So there's only 3 guys on here, so what we're going to do now, since it doesn't make time for sudden death, as the old custom of taking everyone out of the hex cells underneath and checking them for battery life, making sure there's some guys still on the battle bridge. Anyone left in the top hex cells can stay there, but we need to have a calm point. Meanwhile, on the battle bridge, only Streak and Corey are left, and they cast a lone shadow. there. Meanwhile, I think everyone except Wolfie, Streaker's husband, is next to go. Anyway, alright. So, we now have, and guess what time it is now? Since there's only 3 guys on here, the calmest point you could ever have in a hexbug battle. The camera battery is running low, so let's just get this over with.
Time for sudden death.
So,
and here they come.
Time for sudden death, and Tom is the first to go off, and so is Pam. And looks like, and Streaker. And in fact, I'm really sorry about that. The battery on the camera died, so I'm not exactly sure where I got up to when it died. I just looked down at the camera screen and saw battery exhausted. So,
Part 2.
Yep, exactly. So, and Link is the first to go off. These guys are actually very happy they're getting a second chance, except for Tom, who got pushed off before. And, well, this is the ultimate test to see who will win. And Jenna, all these guys, they're getting pushed off. Oh, and there goes another. That was Webbish. Battle legend Webbish is pushed off spectacularly. And then Alexander goes off, and Darlene is just incredibly vulnerable there. Okay, also there's a very bad crash. And the Yuki is dead. Poor thing. Her battery also, and Wallace too. Well, I could actually see. And finally Shelley, even though Gunn Johnson has given up hope. Meanwhile, Streaker comes on, actually, and gets off, actually, immediately. Meanwhile, yeah, so...
We're getting down to the last few. The brave few are still... There's a couple waiting in the wings, just waiting for their chance to come on, and some come on and make their pitch, and immediately falling off. And sudden death doesn't... Oh, one of the most energetic of them all.
And Streaker as well. And that was Alex. And there goes Michaela.
Here we are, down to the last few. Who is it going to be, the last on the battle grid? Sudden death. It starts to go quiet as the motors finally cease to turn. Oh.
And Corey goes off, and so...
Succession.
And that was Benny. And
here they are,
looks like John goes off, so does Sam. We're down to 4 now.
Just over-exuberance sticking up, and Sean's still there. After all this time on the bridge, he's still got the end.
So, I'm sorry about this. My voice might sound a little bit different. We're using a different camera. The battery on the other camera, that was the second battery that died. Still, we are forced to use this one. So, we are now down to 4.
So, in the 350, these are all original nanos. None of them are V2. So, that probably shows you that the original nanos are probably better suited for this kind of battle than the V2. And it looks like, again, they're doing a bit of a stalemate here. Nothing seems to be going on. And I think they're all kind of starting to run out of energy, even Storm over there on the left-hand side.
And Xeroxy's dead.
No.
This might be just, instead of a battle of skill, this might be just a sudden death claiming for the battle of battery power. we've only had one other like this, and that was the battle of, I think it was 97. All the batteries ran out, and I think the last one was Trina, and she won. But that was a long time ago, even the hexbug is.
It looks like there's a bit of teamwork going on here to try and push Sean off of the edge. But he's definitely resisting.
Yeah, he's trying his best, and Hexy goes around and bashes Cooper. Taking him down. Sorry about that. So this definitely looks like a stalemate. Nobody's doing much. This could last a while. And Sean there
Coupled onto his side.
gets flipped, actually. It must have been these. They're a notorious cause of hexbugs getting flipped. And he goes around the outside and tries to push Hexy off. He's a little too good though. Then he goes around the outside again. Hexy follows and makes a move to try and push Cooper off. But Cooper's a bit too good. I'm really sorry about this. I'm trying to get the camera to stay up properly. Meanwhile, Sean goes around the outside, tries to push Cooper off. And Cooper tries incessantly to push Sean off, and Sean gets pushed off! Amazing.
So let's see now.
So Sean takes third place.
And time's running out for the sudden death. As the clock ticks down to 24 hours, we've got 35 seconds left until the end of the competition. And we'll see. We'll just see what happens. Maybe we'll have a dead heat at the end, and these guys will have to share the championship. There's just 22 heated seconds to go. Of course, it's a long time in hexbug land. But here we go, as we come to the last few moments. 10 seconds to go. And it just doesn't look like anybody's prepared to make a decisive move in the end. As the clock ticks down, 2 seconds to go. And that is it. The end of this hexbug enduro battle.
And it is a complete tie between Cooper and Hexy, with Sean in second place. So you could say, as these guys share first place, these are the winners.
Hooray!
Of the 24-hour hexbug battle. They are the glorious winners of this glorious hexbug battle.